Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target morning show. Today is April 1st. No April Fool's jokes for me today. Haven't thought of a good one. But the first quarter is now in the books, 1/4 of the way through 2021. And a lot of us are in the midst of tax season, if you will. Even though I know the deadline slid to May, there's really no reason to put it off. Should have all the forms now by April. Again, I advise folks that when they go to fill out their taxes, they should always wait till really the end of March to get everything put in, but do not file until April because there are several forms that trickle in late. One of those being a K1, which you should know if you have or not, but sometimes you don't, right? Those aren't even due out until March 15th. So the folks that go early in taxes, if you know exactly your tax situation, you can. If you don't, then you need to kind of wait and make sure you have all your forms. And sometimes there's corrections, that sort of thing. If you are using tax software, you should always import. So there's Predator Schwab update last week. They put corrections out, right? So there are, in the more complex, today we're going to talk about day trading, which, some of you actually actively day trade in here. Maybe not a lot. We shall see. I just put the trades for the in the room for somebody just popped in. But yeah, put it all in, but wait. And when you use TurboTax, H&R Block, anything like that, you want to import your document directly. You do not want to hand jam, if you will, into, type it all in yourself. If you can just import it. So import all your documents, that way it's all in there. And then spend your extra time that you would have spent typing everything in, kind of understanding, is this right and why things are the way they are. Don't just take whatever answer the software gave you, right? Because ultimately you're responsible. So anyhow, kind of try to figure it out a little bit. You don't need to become an expert. You should understand what is going on with your taxes. But today we're going to talk specifically about day trading. I've talked about ghost income. We'll talk about, there was an interview or an article in Forbes about, there was a Robinhood person that got confused by a younger person, I think 21 or so, young 20s anyway, that got confused by what their account actually said, and they thought they owed like 715,000 or something like that dollars, and the person committed suicide. That was an old story. The newer story this year is for a day trader that he has a full-time job. He was a Robinhood kind of person, and also says that 8 million people in 2020 opened Robinhood accounts. So that's a net gain, right? People are participating in the market. Participating is, that generally all you need to do is get in there and buy, even if you aren't the best investor, if you will, pick some stuff, hold it over long term, and you're going to make a lot of money, right? So it's a good thing more people are getting involved. However, there are some dangers out there, and largely it's ignorance. I don't mean in a bad way. It's just you don't know everything going into something. So you have to learn not just about how to make money day trading or just trading in general, but also the tax implications. So that's what we're going to talk about today. A lot of folks last year were trying day trading for the first time. On my website, I have a whole presentation of how to day trade and why you shouldn't. So really kind of warning people off of the day trading thing, because it's not easy. As you see, we do trades all the time in here, and the way we set up, we only have to be right 25% of the time to be profitable. Well, that's to break even. So a little more than that to be profitable. But the particular, what they called a jaw-dropping case, is there was an individual who has a $60,000 day job. So, okay, right around the national average, if you will. I think that's a little higher than national average. Day trading on the side. So maybe that sounds like some of you. They're trying to make some extra dollars. The individual did actually pretty well, made 45,000, netted out 45,000 in profits. But here's the issue of, I bring this up all the time. We'll get into it more in the actual show, but he had a tax bill of $800,000, largely because he didn't understand the two things that we're going to talk about today, which is phantom income and the wash sale rule, and how that can, cause problems for you. And that's exactly what happened in this case. And then secondly, how to get around that by becoming a professional day trader, which is doing the IRS Section 475 election, which is a mark to market. So now if you're doing it professionally, like this is your income, now instead of capital gains and losses and all the limits and rules that go with that, it takes those capital gains and losses and now turns that into income, and it treats it as income. So therefore, you don't have to worry about this particular wash sale rule that catches so many people, especially in their first year of day trading, where they owe taxes for a lot more money than they actually made. He made 45K. He owes taxes, the tax bill of 800,000, because the actual phantom income was up around 2 million or so that he didn't know he was doing. He's sitting there creating this tax bill all year long, had no idea until the tax bill comes in. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you're catching us on replay, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe, click the notifications bell. Also, there's no meeting tomorrow because it is Good Friday, so the markets are closed. And then secondly, if you want to catch us live, what you don't see off screen is a Q&A window and a chat window. Good clarification there. XPEV is the long. We clarify that in the chat. MVIS is the second short. So I had to do a quick clarification there in the chat window that we were talking about. If you want to catch us live, it's $25 a month to be in the room. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back, everyone. This is our lineup card for the day. Make sure you have your chat window and your Q&A window set up correctly. Also, make sure that you, for your standard disclaimer applies. It's a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear this morning, and you need to read the full disclaimer at ototnow.com. All right, April, here we go. Mission objectives: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today is kind of living off our money. And if you're going to consider day trading as a profession, we talk about in here, you can do it. Millions of people actually do it. Just realize that day trading is a zero-sum game. So for you to make your millions, somebody has to lose their millions, right? So it's very different from long-term investing. So consider that. Also consider there's people who do this professionally that make a salary. So if you think of the JP Morgan trading desk, and this has come from an article I read, a few years ago, but they have professional traders that they pay, a six-figure income of salary to work on the trading desk. You sit there all day, every day as part of a trading team and sit there and crank out, and they make millions over the course of a year. Millions. So that's coming from somewhere. So who does it come from? Generally, it's the home gamer that they're taking advantage of. Sometimes they're beating another professional team, but anyhow, if you get into one of these jobs, you have to make your numbers, otherwise you're gone. I mean, it's almost like sales, right? You have to make your quota in a day trading situation. Otherwise, you are literally fired and you'll move on, right? So those are the folks you're trading against. So, have a plan, have a very specific system if you decide to day trade and make some income. I picked this up as a relative newbie. I was already, interested. I've always enjoyed the math behind it. But it's you go into it and you learn about it. I joined a professional room like this one, except for it was focused solely on day trading, not long-term investing like we are. But really got into the nuts and bolts. She called a trade every day. And then one day out of the clear blue, somebody said, hey, it's getting towards the end of the year. Make sure that you get your Section 475 declaration done. Here's the form. And they put a link out. And I was like, say what? It's like, seriously, I just hadn't heard of this thing. So I Googled it. I spend literally, it takes about 20 minutes to understand what this is and to be able to file the form and all of that. So Again, we'll talk about what it is here after the actual open. But yeah, you can get shadow income. So the basic example is you go into a stock today. NEO's our number one. I have it up on another screen. And you take a trade and say your risk unit is $100. And you lose 100, and you go right back into the same trade. It stops you out at the bottom. You're like, nope, I believe in this one. So we go right back in, and you make 100. So at the, you're like, yes, even, right? So, and you go on about your day. Well, on your tax forms, what happened is you lost 100 and you made 100 within 30 days. So therefore you're up $0 of actual like money in hand, go buy something with dollars. On your tax form, though, you have made $100 because the loss is not allowed unless you do this Section 475 trading registration. So if you do that, so that's $100 of phantom income. So you will pay taxes on that. So take your regular income and then do $100 capital gain. The problem is you didn't gain anything. So that's what happened to this guy. He cleared $45,000, which is a huge success by any means in day trading. I would say 15,000 is a fantastic success, but 45 is certainly amazing. And now he has a tax bill that's going to eat in 20 times that. He doesn't have that kind of money, so I have no idea how you clear something like this. And to tell the IRS, well, I didn't know. I don't know that they buy that explanation. I've never tried it myself. But anyhow, and of course, this person had no idea that this thing even existed or what they were doing. Right. So take the half an hour if you're going to do this and with real money and hop in and understand these rules. So we're going to take a look at today those things, and we'll ask the question. We'll pull up some specifics on it after when we get to the question today. All right, our flows: long, short, open, short, long. Markets in the green this morning. Had a huge move up yesterday after the infrastructure bill, and then that's what's dominating the headlines this morning. So you think of 2021 as a year. What did we talk about? We talked about we're going to have stimulus. That'll take the market higher. We've got stimulus and the market went higher. We're going to have an infrastructure bill, secondly, and that will be a positive. Everybody will feel good about it. And assuming it passes, and they're talking about July 4th as being their target. So gosh, they're going to spend a couple months tearing this thing apart. Probably a good idea, but you would think they'd be in a little more hurry. That's what I think anyway. But anyhow, so that will take us higher. And then what is the headwind at the end of 2021? COVID's going to die off. That's what we think or hope or whatever. So that takes the market higher. What's the headwind is personal income tax, right? When right now they've got the corporate income tax baked into, a 28% baked into the infrastructure bill. And I actually agree that's probably the right number. 21 was a bit low, 35 was a bit high. So kind of agree with when he said that yesterday. Also, no, not going to affect anybody's taxes unless you make 400K or above. Well, remember, the wealthy people, wealth builders like us, generally don't have the high income. We have all the capital gains. That's where our money is from owning stuff. And you're truly wealthy, they don't have any income. Like, who are they working for, right? No, they own things, right? And even CEOs out there will take a $1 salary or even forego their salary. So it's not like these people have earned income. But anyway, when it starts getting down into re-wickering the tax brackets, which again is going to be later this year, that's when we'll see some headwinds. But for right now, market's hot, going higher and going higher. All right, contingencies, academic resources are standard. Let's go over to TD Ameritrade. Here's what we have set up if you want to set up your day trading stuff now. NEO is my top day trade. A little bit of that's because there's a bunch of EV, electric vehicle money. I know it's a Chinese company, but it all kind of trades the same. EV money buried in the infrastructure bill, whether you think it should or shouldn't. There is. And then secondly, both of these firms, NEO, 373% year over year increase in deliveries, and XPEV, XPeng Motors, is 384%. So they're cranking cars out now. So both are going higher. Micron, obviously, there's a chip shortage out there. They had earnings yesterday. They crushed it. Beat it by 3 cents, which is kind of a crushing. Micron's up at 92. I know there's one person in the room. Remember, we were sitting around talking about Micron. We were loading up at $8. I think I bailed on Micron when it got to 60 because it's 5-6 times X what we made. Yeah, it's at 90, and it's now going higher. Kind of crazy. All right, let's back out a little bit and look where we are at the market. S&P closed just below its all-time high, so I think we'll see a new all-time high today. You focus in on S&P. Here's kind of where we are, kind of flat lining. This is Monday, Tuesday, up yesterday, and then poised to go higher today. When we go take a look at the headlines, here's where we are with the futures. NASDAQ up almost over 1%. Everything else up a little bit there. It's taking a look at Europe, up across the board. Asia up across the board. Hong Kong up big. Here's our numbers from yesterday. He's blanking those out. They were there like 10 minutes ago. Bonds down below that 1.7, so kind of settling in on the 10-year bond yield, which has dominated a bunch of headlines. Oil just slightly out of the high side of our range. Gold and silver, almost attractive here. Not really my thing, but I don't have any problem buying it if you do. And then 59,000 for Bitcoin, kind of holding steady. As far as the infrastructure speech for the headlines yesterday, I thought it went very well. Put together speech. There wasn't a lot of pushback from the Republicans as much as I thought there would be. So I don't know. We'll see. I would say about 2/3 of the bill is focused on infrastructure and 1/3 is focused on fairly unrelated agenda items. So we'll see if some of those get pulled back out. I don't know. That's what the battle will be over the next couple months as they try to get something passed. Okay, there's been some vaccine news. Pfizer's news is going well. Obviously, there was 15 million. Looking for here somewhere. J&J, I think, had the 15 million doses that had to be thrown away due to ingredient mix-up. But not good. Overall, though, I think things are going great. Here in Texas, 16 and above are now authorized to go get it. Just get on the list. All right, let's focus over on day trading mode. We will go over to TD Ameritrade again. Go off camera here and get set up. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day on Thursday, which is a tactical Friday because the markets are closed tomorrow. But you have 4 screens in front of you. All are 1-minute charts. We have the S&P 500 SPY on the left. We'll zoom in here. We have 3 longs to take a look at. The first 2 are both Chinese automakers who have over a 300. They announced this morning. Again, daytime over there, but over 300% year over year in deliveries. So really good news and numbers out of those 2 firms. And we have Micron. There's your opening bell, gapping up that 6%, if you will, for chip makers. There's a chip shortage. They're profitable, or they just beat earnings yesterday. So 3 longs for you to consider. Our short out there is XL, which is XL Fleet, if you will. We'll switch to that if the market turns red. Otherwise, we're going to look at the longs out here. There's some profit taking going on in NEO. That's not a problem. We're going to let it set the low of the day. Looking about a 40-cent stop. So 41.30 is what I'm looking at on the downside. If it goes lower, that's actually good. And it is. So we're just going to kind of let that fall. We'll zoom in here a little bit. 41.25. So the entry point would be 41.65. 41.20. So 41.60. All I'm doing is adding 40 cents to the low of the day. So 41.50 now. So when this thing moves back north, so 41.10 would be a good low of the day. 41.50 would be our entry point there. Have to wait for it to show some strength on the way back up in order to take the trade. Same thing's going on in XPEV. I like NEO. More people kind of know this name. So again, a 40-cent stop is what we're using. Waiting for it to go back up a little bit here before we take that trade. So get ready for it. And we're in. I saw 41.50, so we're in this trade. 41.10 is your stop. I'm going to draw this down here, even though we'll update it if it actually gets down to be a player, which I don't think it will. All right, 40 cents. So 41.90 is your first R point out there. And your second one's going to be 42.30, and then our exit point is going to be 42.70, which is, we'll zoom out here and see what we can get as far as the, so what did I say? 41.90 plus would be 42.30. This is your second R, and then 42.70 is your exit point. And again, here's our entry with here the arrow, if you will, crooked arrow. All right. You saw the big move up next door in XPEV, very similar type moves. You could have really entered either of those. All right, let's look over here and see what's going on with Micron. Popped up to 94, then kind of settled in. I'm going to switch out of Micron. Let's take at our other longs first. Wingstop, excuse me, Wingstop beat earnings pretty good. I'm not sure I would. My kids love it. I'm not sure I would buy stock in a Wingstop, and I don't know if it's enough of a headline to carry it too much higher. Already up 6.5% here. So guess is the next one. Again, part of the opening trade and the increase in retail. You can see the earnings number down here. This is earnings. They beat, or they have $1.18 per share earnings. Don't know how much of a beat that was, but it certainly, did I write it down? No, I did not. They were up 7% pre-market, so it is popping higher on that news. Not, you can get into the retail trade, part of the opening trade if you want. Not particularly my thing. All right, let's look at the short of XL and see what's going on here. Again, they were gapping down 9%. They appear to be not moving a whole lot from their entry point here. So this is an 8-cent move total. Doesn't really have the volume that you're looking for out of trading it. Okay, let's look back to our trade. XPEV striping down. If we would have been in this name, we certainly would have been stopped out. Neo's holding on here, but certainly not looking good. We'll zoom in here. We'll see. Again, 41.10 is the actual stop down here, not where I have the line drawn. But if it breaks this low of 41.819, that's not good news. And it looks like it's going to. So it looks like we're going to be stopped out on this one. Just leave your stop in there. And again, 41.10 is the actual. So see if we can get down here to it. There's the actual. Well, get this drawn and then get back out of here. So it did hold 41.10, just barely. So we shall see. All right, back over here. The second short we have is MVIS Microvision, not WandaVision. I actually watched that. That was really dumb. Microvision down 10%. Can't remember the particular headline. It goes, oh, it was up. Here's why this is gapping down. Look at the move it had up yesterday. So basically, this went from $13 to $19. So that's what, 45% or so. And then basically retracing it back down from there. All right, 41.10 is our exit point. It's not looking good for the home team, but we shall see. It's like we look like Michigan. They look like UCLA here. So we're still in it. So we'll need a good bounce there. So we'll keep that up. Let's look at some other names. Luckin was gapping up this morning. Okay, and see why. See if that held up 2.64%. I like that. Apple got some love yesterday. So Apple, again, has sold off decent amount. Back this chart out a little bit to a 20-day. So again, it was up here at 127, 10 trading days ago. Dipped all the way to 120, had some intraday lows down to 119. So again, most of us are maxed to the gills on Apple, but I did for newer clients, I bought some more down in the 120. I was using 120. I'm not waiting for 119, but below 120 is kind of an add point for me, or buy it if you don't have it. So that's where in Apple things are going pretty well. Amazon also got some love lately. 3,000 I think is an absolute floor on this stock. So again, when you're thinking if you buy it here, $131 to the downside, and multi-decades move to the upside. So really like Amazon long term. And then again, Google, GOOG, been on fire a little bit here lately. 2000's kind of the mental math on it should probably hold 2000. It's already up at 2113 or so. So again, these are something. If you have a like $500,000 portfolio, you should have probably $25,000 of each of those: Apple, Google, and Amazon. Long-term holds. Don't outthink it. Don't try to trade it. Just get into these names and basically hold on. Another one's Home Depot. Look at that chart. Is that ridiculous or what? It just goes up. So it's tough to buy in here, but really it's a long-term hold. So, crazy. So you can buy lows. They aren't run quite as well, but you're going to see the same chart out of lows. Again, kind of crazy. And the last one that I'll throw out there is Boeing. Impossible to buy in here, I think, because it's been going up so much. But yeah, Boeing has been on fire lately, despite all the woes they have, right? They have negative headlines left and right, 737 MAX. Kind of doesn't matter. Boeing just you have exposure to the airline industry, I mean, through manufacturing, and you have a defense exposure, which has a lot of value in it too. All right, let's recap. Let's look at our trade here. We're back to even. If this was too much stress for you, kill it now, right? Get back out of this trade. We've survived this part, so I like it, right? So stay true to the stop again, 41.10 all the way up to 42.70. So let it work for you. But if you don't like it, just kill it here. You're evened up a few pennies and go on about your day. All right, let's look around the rest of the market and see what's up. SE is up. I can't honestly remember what SE is. I should know this. It's in the book. I own it. Oh, C Limited, consumer internet company, very small. This is a pet project of somebody that they forced it on me. Shopify, Neo, VIP Shop. This is another one we bought into the other day. Many of you have it. Not everybody, though. Didn't get around to everybody before it popped. But again, the CEO of VIP Shop announced a $500 million buyback. $500 million. That's a lot of buyback, kids. Twilio, K-Web, goodness gracious, it's nice to see some love in K-Web, up 4.5% today, and then not a huge move up yesterday, but mostly a gap up. And then you're going to see a lot of the Chinese names as well. ARC W, there's an ARC X, the space one out there. I'm not going to touch that. There's Luckin up 3.33%. MongoDB, FireEye, PayPal, GoDaddy, Hero, Espo, a lot of names up higher. There's QClean we talked about, stands to benefit from the infrastructure bill significantly as well. Let's look at the downside. Only 12 names on the way down. Empower, that's a psychedelic. Dominion, XLV is healthcare. XLP is consumer discretionary, I think. XLU is utilities. T always finds a way to go down. Not a big fan. Verizon, also a name that I like to move out of, but obviously I still have some in the book. Prudential, Raytheon, not too many names down there at all. XLB, XLI. You would think those would be up because of the infrastructure bill, but they're not. All right, so not too many things on the downside. So it does look like we're setting up for a kind of rip your face off Friday up move, really to build upon what we had yesterday. So S&P tops 4,000 for the first time. Well, guess what? In the market, new highs make new highs, right? So that's why I think we should be going higher here. So NASDAQ up 1.5%, S&P 0.7%, and Dow just barely in the green. Let's check our trade real quick. Still hanging out here in no man's land, right? So I'm going to go to another screen. We'll check back on that before we leave. All right, let's go to this section 475 trading real quick. I know it's boring. I got that. You can check out if you want, but I do want to cover this real quick. So benefits for active traders. First of all, you can do it on your own, like this person did in Robinhood. Again, they executed. So right now, think of your 1099B, which is the brokerage form you get as a non-day trader, right? So it's already like 20 pages, right? And say you have a $300,000 portfolio. Well, when you look at all the buys and sells of a year, that may be a total volume of like 3 million. Because you buy something, buy a $50,000 chunk and you sell a $50,000 chunk. Well, that shows up as a $100,000 total transaction on your form. So this individual, and that's without day trading. If you get into day trading, and it's certainly if you're using the 4x leverage that is given to a pattern day trader, and you have you have to have a $25,000 account anyway, so you could daily be moving $100,000 easy as a day trader. We'll add that up over a year. That's a lot. And in this person's case, looking at the Forbes article again, his daily trading volume was between $200,000 and $2 million. He completed 10 to 50 trades a day. That all added up to a total transacted, amount of 45 million between all the buys and sells. He recently received his 1099B and input it into TurboTax, and He had 1.4 million in capital gain income. Again, phantom income. He actually made $45,000 and a tax bill over 800K. Insane. I do wonder what he's going to what's going to happen. He booked profits, but the losses were disallowed because he never once waited the 30 days on stocks to book the loss. Okay. Wash sale rule, blah, 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 prohibits you from claiming that loss if you trade it within 30 days. Okay. So back up to Investopedia here is when you look at this, you can actually incorporate as a day trader, sole proprietor, LLC if you want, and become a business. So you can either do it by yourself or as a business. You can qualify for day trader status, which is just pretty easy to do. You make, I think it's 3 trades within 5 days. And then you go from your normal amount of leverage 2x to 4x. So, 4 the number, not 4x foreign exchange, but 4 by whatever you have. You have to have 25,000 in your account to get that. So you basically have $100,000 of leverage available to you. So again, when people say, well, leverage is bad, well, it's not necessarily bad. It's like fire. Fire allowed man to basically live in all places in the world. But you do have to know what you're doing if you're going to use fire in your life. If you have a candle going in your home, you cannot be an idiot, right? If you build a campfire, you cannot be an idiot, right? Because fire can get out of control. Well, leverage is the same way. It's a great tool, but you cannot be an idiot with it. You can form a legal trading business is your best tax treatment and asset protection. I do believe that that's the case. I did not do that. I traded as an individual. But when you look at this tax treatment, the trick is all the way down here is to this mark-to-market election, sections 475F. Once you qualify, so you have to do, it takes like a week or whatever, then you're allowed basically to change your capital gains to ordinary income and losses. And that's the huge part, because now you don't have to worry about qualifying losses or the wash sale rule or the, phantom income issue. So, and it goes through all of these examples basically down here on what this gets for you. So if you want to do something like that, you definitely need to Google it. Maybe you pay $50 to have somebody walk you through this. I don't do this. I don't trade nearly enough for it. And I don't take a second trade on a day. So that's why when I trade once and I see our trade busted below 41.10, so we're out in Neo. But yeah, that's why I don't turn around and trade the same thing that I do, that I took the first time. You accept the loss and you move on, wait for another day, right? So anyhow, some interesting stuff on trading. If you want to know more, if you're thinking about doing it full time, you definitely need to do some research. With that, I'm gonna let you guys go. You guys have a great long Easter weekend. Hopefully you get to spend some time with your families, and we'll be back with you Monday. Talk to you soon.